How are you today, YouTube? This is SirAllAboutMusic bringing you another album review because that's what I do for you. I review albums. And this weekend I realized that I made a huge mistake. I did not do an album review of a certain album on its birthday. On October 22nd, Led Zeppelin 2 turned 40 years old. And I didn't review the album on that day, and I'm so ashamed of myself, so ridiculously ashamed of myself. So I'm gonna correct that right now, because I owe a lot to Led Zeppelin. I would not listen to the breadth of music that I do now without these guys. You know, they were such a dynamic band, and they just did so many different things, and they opened a lot of musical doors for me personally that I probably wouldn't have explored without them. So I owe them a lot. So I'm gonna go ahead and rectify my terrible mistake. Yeah, so Led Zeppelin 2 released October 22nd, 1969. Kind of hectic writing of the songs. They wrote most of these songs while they were doing extensive tours of both the UK and America supporting Led Zeppelin 1. And the kind of hecticness shows through. And I think this album is a little more dynamic than Led Zeppelin 1. You see a lot more of the folksy side of the band in this album, and it really culminates, you know, in Led Zeppelin 3, which is a hardcore folk album. Just, you know, it's really hardcore folk album. So let's get right down to it. Originality, I'm going to give it between an 8 or a 9 because this album is still mostly built on, you know, the blues rock riffs that Jimmy Page is so fond of, and they're ripped off, you know. Led Zeppelin 1 is almost entirely ripped off, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, and you see that a lot in blues music, but the originality isn't there so much. I mean, they do twist it, and they do different things with it, which is why I'm not giving the originality a lower score. They make it their own music. So an 8, you know, closer to a 9 for originality. How much I like this album? I'm going to give it an 8. I do like this album, and I have a new. The reason I'm giving it an 8 is because I have a new system of rating my albums, and I'll get around to that in the overview. So 8. Production, I'm hovering around an 8 also. I don't particularly care for some of the mix. On the Lemon song, I think that rhythm guitar is too quiet in the solo sections. I think it could really be brought out because it's all on one side. And that you know, when they do the up break, it's not really a breakdown, it's more like a break up. That lead guitar just pierces through too much, and you know, that's just one example of what I think why I don't care for the production so much. And what's the other one? Production flow. Flow is also around an 8. You know, like I said, they brought a little more of the folksy side of their music into this album, and it really, I think it kind of clashes sometimes with the blues rock side. I really do, and especially since you have, you know, a song like, oh, thank you, right after the Lemon song. You know, it's a clash sometimes, and it's not a particularly nice kind of clash, so I'll stick with an 8 around that too. Overall, the album gets an 8, and this is what an 8 is. An 8 is an album that I can listen to about 90% of the music 1 or 2 times through without getting bored. There's only really one song on here that I don't care for, and so I skip over it. And but the rest of the songs I can listen to one or 2 times, and you know, at the end of listening to it twice, I'm not bored with it. And the one song, excuse me, that I just can't listen to is "Thank You." I really don't like this song. I think it's way too playful for this album. If they would have put this song on "House is the Holy" or "Physical Graffiti," I would have felt that the kind of playfulness of the song would have fit a lot more. Maybe not the song itself, but the attitude of the song. But the playful attitude of this song just does not belong in this album. It does not. I mean, even the next softest song, which is "Ramble On," has a kick to it that kind of, you know, brings it back to the main core sound of the album. "Thank You" really doesn't have the kind of rocking, hard-hitting sound that the rest of the album does. So that's my least favorite song on this album, and I kind of skip over it when I listen to it. My favorite song on this album is the Lemon song, because there's so much going on with the rhythm. John Bonham, oh my God, what a fucking drummer! Just the best drummer that I've ever heard. His fills are just fantastic, and the rhythms that he chooses, and the way he twists the beats of the rhythms of these songs, so it kind of sends you off balance at some points, and it's really, really great to listen to. And he really shows through on the Lemon song, I think. I think the whole band really kind of shows through on that song. So that's my favorite song. That's all I gotta say. I will be doing all of the Led Zeppelin albums by far. I mean, Led Zeppelin is just a great band. I love them, I love them, I love them. So, yeah, that's all I gotta say. This has been SirAllAboutMusic. Leave a comment, man. Come on, give me some feedback. I love hearing with you guys. I love interacting with you guys. All that junk. And I'll see you guys next time.